Hi friends, Mr. Bond back here on a rainy, wet Friday morning. It's great to see all of you again today. I noticed I got a message from a friend that said, "Hey, Mr. Bond, the bottom of your hands were cut off in your video yesterday." So I thought I would show you what I was doing. When I was making my coin caterpillars, that's what they looked like. All right, bunch of coins in a row, some nice legs, some antlers, and then coming up with the amount. Okay, that's what I was doing. And when I was doing the dice, I was just drawing what the dice looked like and then the coins. I showed that to you just briefly, but just in case you didn't see it, that's what it looked like. Rolling the dice, trying to figure out what you could do, what coins you could do to make that amount. Okay, that's what I was doing. So sorry about that. Not sure how it happened. I hope it won't happen again today. But today is, of course, our Friday. And normally on a Friday, I'm upstairs and I'm telling you guys a story that I made up on the spot. Now, today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I saw my friends Eli and Lenny and their big sister Gracie making up a story. And they made up a cool story about ninjas, and they all told it together, which I thought was really cool. Lots of teamwork telling a story together. But not all of us have a bunch of brothers and sisters. I have two sisters, but they don't all live at the house with me, so it's tricky. So if I want to tell a story, it's pretty much up to me. Now, I thought maybe we could come up with a way to help us tell some stories. So, next week, when it's not rainy, maybe we'll do some story stones outside, but I thought today we'll do some story squares. Okay, I'll show you what that means. So, what I want you to do is get a piece of paper, or two, or three, or a few, depending on how many you want to do, and I want you to cut it up into 4 pieces. So, cut it in half, and then cut it in half again, so you've got some squares. I didn't do it perfectly, but that's okay. That doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect squares or actually rectangles. They can just be whatever shape. And now that you've done that, what I would like you to do is draw some pictures. Could be pictures of anything you want. So I got a couple crayons here. I'm going to draw a few pictures. I'm going to draw a tree. I'm going to draw a beautiful tree. There we go. Beautiful tree. I am going to draw a person. And this person, what should this person be doing? Sure, they can go fishing. So this person is fishing. And did they catch a fish? Yeah, they did? Okay. Okay, they caught a fish. There we go. There's a person fishing, and he caught a fish. Okay? Or we can make it a her. We could add some long hair or something. Or it could just be a girl with short hair. What should my next picture be? I think my next picture is just going to be a regular house. Just a regular old house. Alright. Regular old green house. That's my next picture. Alright, I'm going to do another one. What should my next one be? A dragon? Okay. I'll do a dragon. I've never drawn a dragon before. So let's see. Dragons have, I think, pointy ears. And they've got, like, big old wings. Maybe it's closer to a wyvern, I don't know. Dragons have big teeth. Yeah, they do have big teeth. Big, scary teeth. And should we make this one breathing fire? Of course. Alright, so this one is breathing fire. There we go. There's my dragon. Breathing fire. Fire-breathing dragon. What else should I do? I'm going to draw an ATV because I know lots of you guys like driving on your ATVs. I know Eli and Tate and a lot of friends like driving on their ATVs, and Dash and Lenny. I know lots of friends do, so I'm going to draw a little ATV here. I've never drawn an ATV. But that's okay. Just have to try, right? And I'll put the handlebars on there. There we go. There's an ATV. What else should I draw? Ooh, I'll draw some mountains. Alright, some mountains, nice snow-capped mountains. And I'll draw a nice river going through. There. Some nice mountains with a river going through it. I think I'll stop there. But you can keep going. Do as many as you'd like. And you saw, I did them super duper quick. Super duper quick. And they don't have to be super detailed. They don't have to be the most beautiful story squares in the world, the most beautiful pictures. They're just to help us tell a story. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up all of my pictures. I'm going to shuffle them all up. And I'm going to try and tell you a story based on the order that they're in. Alright, I've shuffled them. I'm going to put them face down, and I'm going to flip them up one at a time, and we're going to try and figure out a story to tell with just our pictures. Now, our story can be different every single time. If we have them in different orders, or if you make a lot of pictures, you could put new ones in, or you could put them all out on the table in front of you or in a basket so you can kind of pick them as you go. You could have mom or dad or a friend, a brother and sister, give you one, pick one out. They could go through the deck and they could give you a picture and it could make you tell a story that way. There are lots of different ways you can use these story squares, and we can talk a little bit more about them next week when we talk about story stones and painting them and stuff. They're really neat. Okay, so I'm going to tell a story just with these right here. So I'm going to take one off the top and tell a story. So the first one is, it's a tree. So, once upon a time, there was a tree. It was the biggest, most beautiful, most incredible tree in the entire forest. Everybody loved this tree. All the animals would come hang out in it. There were a bunch of squirrels that lived inside. The birds made nests in it. It was the best tree ever. Here's our dragon. So, what happened to this best tree ever? Well, one day, a really cranky dragon named Garflox came along. He saw everybody having a fantastic time with this beautiful tree. He saw the rabbits jumping around, having a great time. He saw the squirrels running up and down, storing their nuts. And he said, grumpy Garbleflax, I'm going to burn that tree down. So, he said, everybody, get out of that tree, I'm burning it down. And all the animals said, no, please don't do that, Mr. Garbleflax. But he did it anyways. He went 3, 2, 1, and he burned that tree to the ground. And all the squirrels were going, and all the rabbits were going, and all the birds were going. It was a very, very sad day. Everyone was very, very angry with Mr. Garbleflax. So, what happened next may surprise you. All of these animals, all of the squirrels going, and all the rabbits going, and all the birds going, they went to find the only person they knew that could grow a tree. His name was Liam. He was the most amazing tree grower in the forest. All the animals knew if anyone could help him, it would be Liam. So they all ran around trying to find him, and they finally found him and said, Liam, what are you doing? Are you catching fish? He said, well, yes, of course I'm catching fish. But no, don't catch our fish. That's our friend. That's our friend, Fish Lexi. And he said, no, don't worry. I'm not hurting the fish. I'm just catching them so I can make sure they're doing all right. I pull them out of the water. I say, hey, Lexi, how are you doing? And she says, burp, 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 burp. And if she gives me 3 bloops, she's doing okay. If she gives me 4 bloops, that means she needs me to give her some food. So, Lexi, how you doing? Hey, she's doing okay. So Liam tossed her back into the river. And all the animals came up to our friend Liam and they said, "Hey, Mr. Garbleflax, you burned down our tree." And Liam said, "Not the tree, the tree." And they all said, "Yes, the most beautiful tree in the entire forest." And Liam said, "Oh my goodness. Well, Mr. Garbleflax, he did a terrible thing. We're going to have to try and fix it. Is there anything left of the tree?" And the animals said, "Just a little bit, it's all burned." So, Liam set out on his ATV. He hopped on his ATV, that of course is an electric ATV, doesn't put out any pollution. And he said, "All right, all of my animal friends, jump on my ATV." So all of the squirrels jumped on. All the birds said, "We can just fly." But okay, well they jumped on. And all the rabbits, they jumped on. And all the little animal creatures jumped on the ATV and he took off. But it was electric, so it didn't actually make it a noise. It was more like... And they took off towards where the greatest tree used to be. Now this was a long and arduous journey. They had to cross mountain peaks. They had to cross rivers multiple times. I don't know why they went back and forth across it so many times, but they did. Maybe it was because the ATV was a lot of fun to drive. I'm not sure. So they went through the entire gigantic forest. And they came upon Garbleflax's home. Now you'd think normally dragons live in caves, but not Garbleflax. He lives in a house. And it's just kind of a regular house, which is kind of weird. Dragons don't usually live there, but Garbleflax was a weird dragon. So Liam went up to the door and knocked. He said, "Mr. Garbleflax!" And Mr. Garbleflax said, "Brr." And Liam said, "Mr. Garbleflax, you burnt down a tree." And Mr. Garbleflax came to the door and opened it up. And he said, "I hate trees." And Liam said, "But why do you hate trees so much? Your house is made out of trees. It's made out of wood." And Garbleflax gasped. And that made him cough. And you know what happens when dragons cough? They breathe fire. So all the animals jumped out of the way. The squirrels went, "Ah!" The birds went, "Ah!" The rabbits went, "Ah!" And Garbleflax coughed and burnt down his own house. And Garbleflax started to cry, just like the rabbits did. And Liam said, "Oh my goodness, you should not live in a wooden house. That's a terrible idea for a dragon. What are you doing, Garbleflax?" And Garbleflax said, "Well, I just really liked the wallpaper. It was beautiful in there." So Liam thought for a minute. He thought for 2 minutes. He thought for 3 minutes. And said, "You know what? On our travels through the mountains, we saw a beautiful cave. Now, it doesn't have wallpaper on it, but it does have lots of nice drawings. I'm not sure who made them, but they're like cave etchings. They were really, really cool. You might like it there." And Garbleflax said, "Okay, but I'm sorry. I burnt down your tree." And Liam said, "You know what? Don't worry about it. I have..." He pulled out a seed. And it wasn't just a regular seed. It was a beautiful, huge seed, and it was glowing like, I don't know, it might have been magic or something. And he said, "You know what, Mr. Garbleflax? If you drop this seed right where the greatest tree in the forest used to be, all will be forgiven. I'll be able to go back to helping my fish, and all of our little friends will have their tree again." And Garbleflax said, "I guess that's okay." So Garbleflax took off. He flew to where the greatest tree in the forest used to be and dropped that seed right down. And as soon as that seed hit the ground, a new beautiful tree popped up into the air. I told you Liam was the best at growing trees. Garbleflax flew to the mountains and found himself a beautiful cave to live in. And he swore to himself, I promise, I will never burn down beautiful trees ever again. I love my cave." The end. You see, I told a story using just my 6 little drawings right here. And if I mix them up, I could tell all kinds of different stories. If I started with this one, I could tell a story about an ATV named James, who loved driving around all over the place. And he met a guy who was fishing. You know, you could tell all kinds of different stories depending on which one you start with or what order I'd like you to try today. Cut up some pieces of paper into squares or rectangles like I've got here. Draw some cool pictures. Have mom and dad do some pictures. Have grandma and grandpa do some pictures. Have your brothers and sisters do some pictures for you to help you out. And then try and tell a story. Then mix them up and try and tell a different story. And then get someone else to hand you them and try and tell a different story. Okay? I want you to try and tell 2 or 3 stories with your story squares. Okay? Or story rectangles. Now, it is a long weekend, so I won't be back on Monday, but I will see you bright and early on Tuesday morning. You have a great long weekend. I'm hoping I can get outside and get some stuff done, get to work on my cars, do some fun stuff. I hope you can too. All right. Until Tuesday, as Mr. B saying, bye-bye.